And welcome to all of you to the regular meeting of the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners, May 16th, 2024. We will begin our meeting with a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Commissioner Dan Bessie. Would you please stand if you're able? Moment of silence first. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Citizens who are interested in participating in the public session portion of the meeting actually can do so by telephone by calling 336-422-1200. You'll be placed on hold until the public session begins, and any member of the audience who is interested in participating in the public session portion of the meeting, you can fill out a speaker card and give it to our clerk. In fact, you could do that anytime before that happens. Ms. Ashley Matthews at the end of the dais here today. That number again, if you're calling in, is 336-422-1200. Before we actually begin, our first item on the agenda is to actually have a special presentation by Mr. Alex Nelson. And he is here to present the Veterans Cup Award for a trivia contest, that the actual trophy part for that. And I'm going to ask our Deputy County Manager, Chantel Robinson, to be the person to accept it, because she was on the team. He's going his way. There he is right there. Has the trophy coming up.
Don't be shy. You earned it. And they were some tough questions this year.
It was.
Some other team members in the back. Carter, Katie.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Damon.
Just for the record, there's two names on this trophy.
Yeah, we did have, we had a group. Well, all right, we'll go for the picture. We'll go for the picture. Come on.
So there's two names on this trophy. They both belong to Forsyth County. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Memorial Day month. I say month because we truly. Oh. Got to take a few seconds. I wasn't planning on this, but this is a really, really hard month and a beautiful month in the same breath. Memorial Day should be Memorial Month. There's a lot of unsung heroes. There's a lot of unknowns in this world today that built the United States of America, and their sacrifices mean a lot. And I want to thank this board for being a part of the people. I want to thank these members for being a part of this community. And I want to thank this board for being a part of these soldiers and service members' lives. Thank you very much. I have nothing else to say other than thank you, and I look forward to next year.
Very good. Thank you for being here today. We hope you're back next year. That means we will have won a third time in a row. It'd be a three-peat if you're back.
Yes,
Thank you. All righty. First item on the agenda is a resolution recognizing May 19th through 25th as Emergency Medical Services Week in Forsyth County. And Joey Hunley, our EMS director, is here to receive the resolution. And going to the microphone is Commissioner Woodbury, and she is going to read it. And I think we have a few folks here to come forward to be a part of our recognition of EMS Week.
It's about y'all. Good afternoon. The resolution recognizing May 19th through May 25th, 2024 as Emergency Medical Services Week in Forsyth County, North Carolina. Whereas emergency medical services are a vital public service, whereas the members of the emergency service team provide exemplary medical care, treatment, and ambulance transportation to the citizens of Forsyth County 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Whereas access to quality emergency medical care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury. Whereas emergency medical services have grown to fill a gap by providing important out-of-hospital care, including preventive medicine, training, and education. Whereas the emergency medical services system consists of emergency medical technicians, advanced emergency medical technicians, paramedics, firefighters, emergency medical dispatchers, emergency physicians, emergency nurses, educators, administrators, and others. Whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week in Forsyth County. And whereas the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners is committed to a continued emphasis on maintaining a high-quality, high-performing emergency medical services system. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners that the week of May 19th through the 25th, 2024, be recognized as Emergency Medical Services Week in Forsyth County, and the Commissioners encourage its observance by all county residents and convey our deepest gratitude to our EMS professionals who serve our county every day, adopted the 16th day of May 2024. Aye.
And thank you all for your service. And Chief, if you'd like to say a word or two, you can.
Guys, absolutely. Thank you very much, Commissioner Woodbury, for reading that. Chairman, Commissioners, it's a special week for EMS next week, and we definitely appreciate everything that y'all have done for us to this point. It's been a busy week or a busy year for emergency services, and a lot of that's been given towards the EMS function. I will note we've got the supervisor here off the street, Captain Settle. We've got an ambulance crew in here, the paramedic ambulance crew. We've got our community paramedics folks in here, and then we've got our training, one of our training officers with 8 new hires, 1 paramedic and 7 EMTs. So again, we really appreciate the support that y'all provide. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's get it. Oh, I thought it was in the front.
Y'all know how to do it.
New folks in the front.
Over here, tall people in the back, short people in the front. Not too much.
How tall are you? Maybe about like 6 rooms.
Just turn around here. Look at that. Yeah, it's fell in place like a perfect ball. Just like perfect.
We should get a last picture of the county manager in here. And the deputy county manager. Come on up here.
Come on. Here we go. Where are we? There you are.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here today. I have 2 little housekeeping things. I had to going down and taking a picture with a trophy. I got distracted, and there was 2 things I needed to do. One was to recognize that Commissioner McDaniel is actually participating in the meeting remotely, and she'll be, I didn't call on you actually to vote on that one, Commissioner McDaniel, on the resolution, but we're set. And also, I'm pleased to recognize Dr. Janet Spriggs, the president of Forsyth Tech Community College, and she's going to give us a presentation on the college's request for next year. So Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Dr.
Thank you
Spriggs.
for having me. And I hope I can remember, I had a technology lesson beforehand. I think I can remember these steps to get to share this. Oops. And of course, I went too far. Thank you all, and good afternoon, commissioners, and thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you here today. I am going to talk about our request, but briefly before doing that, I wanted to share a couple of photos with you, or drawings, if you will, of our upcoming Learning Commons that, of course, is being financed with Forsyth County bond debt. It is the last of the projects from the bond that the college is working on. This is a picture of the courtyard, you can see the future Learning Commons here. The courtyard redesign is part of this project. We are actually soon going to have a demolition party. I'm not sure exactly what that means, other than we are knocking down the old buildings that are in the footprint for where the courtyard and the new building will be. When all the work is done for the courtyard, this is what it will look like. It is quite a big improvement to the space that connects the quad, if you will, of the college campus. We look forward to being able to welcome you there to see how beautiful and also accessible this will be for all of our students. And then the future Learning Commons will, of course, sit on the side of that quad. It is going to be I'm so sorry, somehow I got to the end of the presentation. So I didn't learn well in my technology lesson. It is going to be a 21st century Learning Commons, and that essentially means that, yes, it will still be a library with books, but there will also be quite a bit of electronic resources within this building. It will be 3 levels, a ground floor, a first floor, and a second floor, and as you move up on each floor, you get quieter. So you will have much more collaborative space for students to be able to work together on projects. We have classrooms, we've got multimedia rooms. On the second floor, it gets a little bit quieter, still some space for collaboration, but not as many people at one time. And then when you get to the third floor, you find more of a traditional library environment where we have independent study areas. The book stacks will be located there in the circulation desk, and it will be something that I'm sure you will all be proud of and that our students will gain mightily from having the resources that will be provided there. Additionally, just a couple of photos. I hope you've all had an opportunity to see our beautiful blue, Forsyth Tech blue and teal fire engine. We were grateful to be able to have support from our Forsyth Tech Foundation to buy this really nice new engine, Squad 24, as you see here, and to be able to have it branded as Forsyth Tech for our public safety training that we do at the college. And we got quite a deal on this very nice new fire engine. They've told me that I could drive it if I'd like, and I've declined. You will be happy to know. I think I may ride in it, but I don't think I want to try to drive it. I also want to make sure that you are aware of another local partnership that we are so excited about. This is Salem Advantage. We signed an agreement with Salem College so that our students will be able to go to Salem College for 2 years to complete their bachelor's degree, and at a wonderful deal of only $3,000 per year for tuition and room and board at Salem College. So very excited to be able to have our Forsyth Tech students who are local to our communities be able to stay in our community and continue their education in such a wonderful way. And then just quickly to share with you that just earlier this week on Tuesday, we had the first of its kind Catalyzing Education Through Collaborative Philanthropy event that we hosted at Forsyth Tech. This was a wonderful opportunity for us to be able to bring together Forsyth Tech staff and faculty, Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools staff and faculty, as well as business leaders, local philanthropists, and national leaders in public-private partnerships and philanthropy, including the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Strata Education Foundation, Truliant Federal Credit Union Foundation, and the Twin Cities Development Foundation, to talk about how we can come together collectively to solve some of our challenges within education today. We talked about how we can increase levels of attainment for lower income students. In short, we really wanted to understand how we could better leverage both our public and our private resources and dollars and link and leverage each of the individual assets that we all bring to the table to help more students who have traditionally struggled to either access higher education or struggle to complete their higher education, attain their goals. And it was a wonderful opportunity. Thank you to Commissioner Chair Dr. Don Martin for sharing a quote that you see here on the screen. It was part of our gallery walk, Dr. Martin, along with the quote you see here from Dr. David Zeiss, who's our president for Atrium Wake Forest Baptist Health, that really did show the support to the groups that were there that we have both from the public sector and the private sector. The Gates Foundation representative who was with us wrote us back that evening after the event to tell us how excited he was that he had never been in a room to hear from students directly. And we had 5 early college students high school students who were taking CCP credits there to tell their stories. He was most impressed, and we hope that's going to translate into continued investment in the work that we're doing at Forsyth Tech. And then finally, just a few pictures. We celebrated last Wednesday our largest commencement ever at the Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum. We had over 2,045 to be exact, graduates this year, including those who earned their high school equivalencies, associate degrees, diplomas and certificates, and over 1,000 of them marched in the ceremony. This is a picture that tells quite a story, I think. You can see the thousands of parents and children and other friends and family who were there to congratulate their graduates. You can also see the smiling faces. Rusty LaRue, hometown hero, who played every sport possible at Wake Forest University, was there to offer a wonderful congratulations message to our students. While we were waiting for them to bring in new chairs, because we had about 40 more graduates show up than told us they would be there, we took the opportunity to get a giant selfie as well to commemorate the occasion. And now to the budget request. You will see here a page from the actual budget request for Forsyth Tech Community College. And basically what I wanted to share with you about this request is that we are only asking for an increase in monies to support the salary increase for our county-funded employees that we will receive for our state employees, or that we anticipate receiving for state employees. As you know, it's the second year of the biennium budget, and overall we received a 7% increase over 2 years. We had 3.5 of that last year, and this year we will get 2.5. And so we're just asking that that money be put into reserve, and then once the legislature completes the short session work, that we would be able to provide that same level of salary increase to those employees. In addition to that, at your places, you should have a copy of the Trailblazer Promise booklet that I brought to share with you today. And this is a document that talks about our plans for working to create an endowment to support and continue to support free college for Forsyth County residents at Forsyth Tech. We're asking for help from the County Commission, if you are able to do so, to help us seed this work. As a reminder, we have offered our Trailblazer Promise for 3 consecutive years. We began as a result of our COVID stimulus dollars to offer that to graduating high school seniors for the class of 2021. And we were able to do that for 1 year. It's a last dollar scholarship opportunity. We did that for 2 years in a row using state money and federal money. Last year, we had a little bit of state participation, and in addition to that, our foundation stepped up to help us continue to do that. What we want to do is find a way to make this an ongoing promise for all Forsyth Countyans. We have proven data, and you will see some in the booklet that I shared with you, that supports how this is a wonderful opportunity for workforce development, how it supports both rural and urban communities. It is an economic and workforce development competitive advantage for communities where they are able to ensure that they are growing their own talent and, more importantly, keeping their talent once they're skilled workers in the workforce locally. We have, as I said, been able to do this for 3 years now for our graduating high school seniors. The money that you see here would allow us to do the second year of last year's commitment for that second year of the students who graduated last year and are with us now. In addition to that, we would be able to open it up to all Forsyth Countyans, not just high school students, but any adult learner or anyone that wants to come back who lives in Forsyth County to take a program. That money, as a last dollar opportunity, is included in this money that you see here. I would like to just share briefly, in the booklet that I gave you, you can see a lot of the data, but there was a study particularly to call your attention to by the American Education Research Association back in 2020 that said that two-year colleges with Promise programs saw enrollment increases in Black and other minority groups, sometimes as high as 52%. What is not in the booklet, but what is also true and part of the study, is that all groups of students, both adult learners, students from all ethnic and demographic backgrounds, saw significant increases when Promise programs were in place. There's also data from the Tennessee Promise program that shows the reduction in debt that the Tennessee Promise program brought to the citizens of Tennessee. Just so you might have an idea of what the Promise program has meant to Forsyth Tech, students who received this benefit over the past 3 years have a higher rate than their peers who did not participate in the Promise program of persistence, retention, and completion. They persisted at 6% higher. They had a retention rate that was 4% higher, and remember that this was also during COVID, when many colleges and universities across the country saw significant declines in enrollment. Forsyth Tech has been growing. We are at our highest enrollment in 10 years, and in addition to that, our completion rate has gone up. When I arrived, we had a 4-year completion rate of 19%. We have worked diligently on that, and I'm very proud to say that our 4-year completion rate is now 39%, which is pretty dramatic and remarkable in a short period of time. And we do attribute much of that to taking away the financial burden that so many, particularly of our low-income students, have to bear. We also know that the North Carolina General Assembly established back in 2019 a statewide educational attainment goal because 65% of all jobs require post-secondary education now. And under that charge, we are trying to get 2 million North Carolinians between the age of 25 and 44 with an industry-valued credential or post-secondary degree by 2030. My Future NC shares data with all of the community colleges because we are vitally important to this effort, and we know that it's county-level attainment. We know that, unfortunately, our counties, we serve both Forsyth and Stokes counties, and we are behind in getting to our part of that goal. So we are working diligently to try to quickly continue the work and have more of our students actually graduating and getting us up to where we need to be in relation to the other counties in North Carolina. And additionally, I'll say that we have been the best state to do business for the past 2 years. I'm pretty sure we're going to get that title once again, and I do think it's vitally important for us to have a well-skilled workforce in order for us to be able to attract businesses. I remember Commissioner Wisenhunt telling me about Zeal Abeg, who said during the groundbreaking that they were here in part because of your community college and Forsyth Tech and the work that we do to provide the skilled workforce. I believe that is the end of my formal presentation with one quick addendum. I do know that later on your agenda today, you will be considering a request for funding again for the Learn and Earn Apprenticeship Program, LEAP at Forsyth Tech. That program has been instrumental and invaluable to us in our continued work for workforce development, but also as an opportunity to help more students actually learn while they earn and graduate without any debt. So I would very much I'd just like to thank you for all of the support that you've already given to that program, and we would love to have more support, and thank you very much. And I'd be happy to answer any questions, Dr. Martin.
I've got one, and that my eyesight's pretty good, but I could not see your
Okay.
charts in there very well on the
Apologies.
on the actual number request. Can you?
This one?
It's actually all of those.
Is that the one, Dr. Martin?
Yeah, well, yeah, there were all three charts. I couldn't see them very well.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I couldn't read all that stuff.
And these came directly, I think, from the county manager's recommended budget
We
document?
don't have that yet.
Okay,
Yeah, well, it's the,
Working
basically the
budget.
document that you'll see in that. And so what is a fairly nominal increase in just the regular operating piece will be part of that manager's recommended budget. The Trailblazer Promise larger commitment will be, you'll see as an alternate service level. And you got the alternate service level list, so you'll see it on there, and that's kind of how it'll be presented.
so this page does not show the Trailblazer Promise. It's a one-time ask, and I think alternate service level, is that right?
That's correct.
Are there two totals on that? You mentioned one for the,
On
one
the
number
trail-
was the students who received first-year
Yes.
scholarships. And I assume that's the 1.4,
There's
million.
two columns. So the request would be the first year, which is this coming fiscal year that begins July 1, it's 2.7 million, 2.72 million to be exact, and that would cover the 2023 high school graduates who are currently with us for 1 year. We had our Promise program, the only money we had from our foundation would cover last dollar for 1 year for those students. So 1 year for them to be able to get their second year and complete their degree, and then another 1.36 million for the class of 2024 and other students from Forsyth County. And then the second column shows 1.4, which would be for next year, which would essentially complete the 2-year program for the students that start this year, if that makes sense. And I will say that, I had another thing I was going to say, and it totally lost my train of thought, I'm sorry. I did want to say that the document that you have, and the reason the request works out this way, is that this is a document that we are using to raise money for an endowment for the Trailblazer Promise. So in other words, it is not the intent that the county would continue to support this, which is why it's being presented this way, because we do believe that, as some of our other neighboring counties have been able to do, Davie County, as well as Blue Ridge Community College, Pitt Community College, and several other community colleges and regions across the state, have been able to leverage public and private dollars, or public dollars to raise private dollars and create an endowment, and that's what we're hoping to do.
do you know what the split, this is the last question I'll ask, is those that are current, that graduate from high school and enrolling for that scholarship, but the other, it seems like once other Forsyth County people, what's your estimate on that number being? Because that strikes me as maybe not the intent of the Promise Scholarship Program.
It's actually included here, and the reason that the number is not higher is because this is last dollar. So that means that most of the adult learners and other students who come back to us qualify for federal financial aid. They also qualify for NC Next, which is a new scholarship that the state has established that will help every student in North Carolina, community college student in North Carolina, who has a adjust AGI, adjusted gross income level of 80,000 or lower, it gives them money for college. So once we apply all of those dollars, this is the amount that it would take for our estimates of adults and high school seniors. So it's lower than you would expect. It is lower than what we spent for the past 3 years, but we didn't have the next scholarship at that time.
So do you know, as an estimate, what the number of the adult learners would be in terms of the last dollar?
As far as how much of this is attributed to them, I can get that for you. We did calculate it, but I just have the totals, and I am sorry I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm happy to share it.
And the last is just a comment. I appreciate you sharing the Tennessee success with their, tuition, kind of program. And I know that discussion has taken place at the state level. Have the successes of the Tennessee program been discussed with our legislators?
They certainly have been discussed by myself and all the other 57 presidents, as well as system office staff. Right now, we have a $96 billion request in, $1 million request in to the General Assembly for NC Propel, which is a new funding model for the state to consider, which would give us additional money to provide instruction, but that funding model does not have additional scholarship dollars included in it. So our focus for this session has been on that much-needed additional infusion to be able to maintain the growth that we're seeing and to create new programs and serve the workforce. In other words, we prioritized our ask as a system because that comes through the State Board of Community Colleges, and we cannot continue to operate with the funding model that has been around for probably 60 years. It just does not continue to support the work these days. And so we've asked for that change in the model instead of asking for additional scholarships. With that said, we do have a surplus, and we have met with our legislators. I was there 2 weeks ago for a day with students and business leaders and trustees. And we did mention to them that we would love for them to help with the LEAP and apprenticeship funding. We also mentioned to them that we need to expand that next scholarship, which would in effect potentially create a promise program. But I don't have any insight into how that's going to be finalized.
Other questions, comments?
I do have a question, Chair Martin. Thank you. First, Dr. Spriggs, thank you so much for sharing this information, and I am definitely a proponent of Learn and Earn, the Trailblazer Promise project, and I think we have even an apprentice sort of project or initiative that is going on, and I wonder if there is a way to sort of show how these projects synergize into the strengthening workforce development. So is there a way for you guys to show us the impact directly in Forsyth County with these projects as it relates to workforce development and, just strengthening our citizens' aptitude to be employed and successful tax-paying citizens here? That would be, I think, super beneficial for us to see how we are leveraging the resources of the county to support workforce development through Forsyth Tech.
Certainly. Yes, we can. I've got a great team that are excellent at data mining and providing those that information in a way that makes sense, and I'll have them work on that for us.
Thank you. And then the last point that I have is actually a comment. I was in Davie County and speaking with some of the Chamber of Commerce staff, and it was very apparent that without Forsyth Tech, Davie County could not be attracting so many, not just national, but international companies to come to Davie County based on the capacity to have the workforce needed that the international investors needed to have. And so I was told that, keep supporting Forsyth County, Forsyth Tech, so that they could continue to help us with our workforce. So, hats off to the work that you're doing that is impacting not just Forsyth County, but the immediate counties around us with workforce development.
Thank you so much. We do partner a lot with Davidson Davie, and also we're so close to Davie County, a lot of the residents just come to us for programs that are not offered there. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep.
Other questions? Appreciate you being here today, sharing that. I'll look a little more carefully at this, get a little
Okay.
chance, so thank you.
Thank you so much.
The next item on the agenda is a resolution authorizing hiring and retention bonuses for full-time paramedic employees assigned to the Emergency Services Department. And Chief Hundley, I would like to ask you to, I actually met with a reporter earlier today, and he asked me the question I asked you that I could not remember the answer to, which you answered it last week, is roughly we're talking about, my memory is that current paramedics were about 80, less than 100, and vacancies.
Sure, so we've got about, well, the same reporter has reached out to me, so.
Same person. I told him we would actually be discussing, and I would
Yes, sir.
ask that today.
Yes, sir. So we're at 106 paramedics is the number total that we have, and we're at 54
Okay,
vacancies
good.
for those.
All right, that's
Yes,
good.
sir.
Thank you. So are we prepared to vote on this resolution? We've been briefed on, and discussed. Do we have a motion by Commissioner Bessie? Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Linville. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. And we see you, Commissioner McDaniel. Would you like to say aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Good. All right. Next item on the agenda is approval of minutes for the meeting of May the 2nd, 2024. Have a motion?
Move approval.
Motion by Commissioner Plyler. Second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Woodbury. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand.
Aye.
I see you. Thank you, Commissioner McDaniel. All righty, Madam Clerk, do we have any calls or cards for the public session?
Mr. Chairman, we have 5 speaker cards and 2 folks on the phone.
Let's do the let's do the 2 phones. Let's do those first. Thank you.
Of my formal presentation with one quick
Hello.
agenda. Hello,
Hi, ma'am. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good. Thank you for calling the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners public session line. This session is for comments only, and questions cannot be answered. Please state your name and address for the record.
Myrna Gatros, 4161 Graytuck Drive, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, 27107.
Thank you. Speakers will have 3 minutes each. You may begin.
Yes, my name is Myrna Gatros. I am calling regarding the Piedmont Hoist and Crane sandblasting adjacent to our road on Graytuck, which they are off of Temple School. And the sandblasting is continuing, as I'm sure you all are aware. We don't know if anything is going to be done. We've never received any calls or of anything to tell us what's happening. And now there is a possibility, according to an online ad, that they're going to extend or thinking about extending their hours to go 7 days a week, 2 shifts, ending somewhere around 2 a.m. I'm not sure if that has started yet or if it will, but that is something they are trying to do. And they are also doing something very loudly with some big pieces of metal or equipment that is dropping on the ground that sounds like thunder right over top of our heads. I don't know what that is, but it is very annoying as well. The city does not allow, this is off topic a little bit, but this is a comment I want to make. City does not allow roosters on your property, but the county does. I can't have a rooster if I wanted one, but I have to listen to that noise adjacent to my property because they're in the county. So I know that's off topic, but it is the stupidest thing I've ever heard as far as a ruling between city and county. I think that something needs to be done about the sandblasting, obviously, but we need answers on Grey Tuck, and we're not getting them. Thank you.
Thank you.
You are now available. Thank you.
Thank you for calling the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners Public Session Line. This session is for comments only and questions cannot be answered. Please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, this is Jackie Siebold, 4153 Grey Tuck Drive, Winston-Salem.
Thank you. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each. You may begin.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I think I last spoke about the sandblasting issue that's taking place at Piedmont Hoist and Crane on Temple School Road at the April Commissioners meeting. Today I'm calling to share again with each of you that the problem has yet to be resolved. The last update I received was from County Manager Watts, and that was on March 5th. In that update, it was written, and I'm going to quote here, on February 1st, Kyle Haney had a phone conversation with Josh Perkins, Vice President of Operations of PH&C, meaning Piedmont Hoist and Crane, during which Mr. Perkins acknowledged that the recent efforts to mitigate noise by installing metal and sound dampening fabric along the fence line was not significantly effective and additional measures were under consideration. If there's any information or updates on those developments, I'm hoping that you can share those with me today. At this point, however, nothing has changed. When you ride by the location on Temple School Road, the cloud of sandblasting dust, you can still see it when it's occurring, and the noise level can be heard inside your vehicle as you drive by. It's also still audible to residents in the area and continues to be heard inside my home on Grey Tuck Drive and other homes when it occurs. The so-called efforts to mitigate the noise that you can see from Temple School Road are what appear to be a U-shape container set up with a drape over the top, and it's been there for some time. So if any of you have a chance, it's worth a drive down Temple School Road to see the appearance of what's going on and how that operation is set up. But my purpose for calling in today isn't to rehash the history of this situation, because each of you know the history. My purpose today is just to let the board know that I and several other residents I've spoken to still have faith that you, our commissioners, are going to help us resolve this problem. And I just want to let you know that we appreciate the efforts of everyone involved, and we continue to wait, hope, and believe that you will help this situation come to an end. Thanks to each and every one of you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, our next speaker is Kristen Zacks. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Kristen Zacks, and it's 2719 Bartram Road. First, I want to thank you all for everything you do each and every week. I know it's a lot, and we are so appreciative. I'm here today to speak on behalf of Tricia McManus's request for funds for the Winston-Salem Forsyth County School System. I have lived in Winston-Salem for the past 24 years after graduating from Wake Forest University, and I have two children who attend R.J. Reynolds High School. I'm the current PTSA president at RJR, and I'm fortunate to be at the school almost every day supporting our amazing teachers, administration, and staff. I came here today because I want to share 3 stories that I think will help support some of what Ms. McManus is requesting. The first is about my daughter's AP Government and Politics teacher that she had last year. She had an incredible teacher who taught our kids about the political system and just the current events going on. In fact, he had this amazing assignment that our whole family actually really enjoyed, where he had the kids follow several news stories over many weeks and report on the bias between news stations and channels. And I thought to myself, I think every adult should have to have that assignment. But my daughter was so inspired by her teacher that she decided that to run for student government, join youth in government through the YMCA program, and potentially follow up a career in politics. So maybe she'll be up here one day with you all. And I have a son who's 2 years younger, and I was so excited for him to have that same experience with this teacher because it really was life-changing. But unfortunately, that teacher left to go to Wake County. He accepted a job at a high school there because he received better pay and is getting a stipend for his master's program at NC State. So it was really disappointing for a lot of us to realize that our children would not experience that phenomenal level of teaching. We know Raleigh and Charlotte are a draw, so I would just say anything we can do to keep our teachers here in Forsyth County, we need to do it. The second story I want to share is about classified employees. Our Reynolds PTSA, just this year alone, has covered with volunteers 21 weeks of secretarial support at our school because we've had 2 guidance secretaries leave this year for better pay. One went to leave to go work at a factory floor, and one left to work part-time at a medical office because of the pay. They needed to be able to be paid to make bills, to pay bills, and to make ends meet. And as you can imagine, and I'm sure Dr. Martin, you can relate to this, guidance secretaries and student services are the first point of contact when our kids are in crisis or have an urgent need. And these people that we hire, they are playing a critical role in the lives of our students. So whatever we can do to help increase the pay for classified employees would be really appreciated. The third point I just want to make is that we need nurses and social workers in our schools. I know Ms. McManus has requested that. We have 1 nurse at Reynolds High School, and she only comes 1 day a week. We have 1,700 students. 18 of them are diabetics. I was just there the other week. We had a student with a medical emergency, and I had to pull a teacher out of class who's a first responder to come help me. We have 18 kids, as I mentioned, who are diabetic. If they have any sort of blood sugar issue and crash, we have to pull teachers out because our nurse is only there 1 day a week. So I would just ask that we really consider that request. And as far as social workers, we have 1 social worker right now. At Reynolds High School, we used to have 2, and we know that nurturing adults makes such a difference in the lives of our children, and we have children who are not receiving that nurturing outside of school. So whatever we could do to just get social workers, to increase our social workers would be great. So I just would ask you all to consider those requests from Ms. McManus. I thank you for your time and your support.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is David Rigby. Please come forward, state your name and address.
Thank you. David Rigby, 3920 Seaton Road in Winston-Salem, 27104. I'm here to support the schools as well. And I'm not here to speak to the details of the numbers on the budget, but I'm here to talk about my support for public schools. And a little bit about myself. I was in the first class at Brunson Elementary School to go through that at school. So I started school when that school opened. All 7 of my parents' children went through Brunson. So there was at least 1 Rigby child in Brunson for 21 years. There was a Rigby child in the school system for 28 years. My mother went to Reynolds High School. And at age 96, my mother is currently observing the 80th anniversary of her high school graduation. In fact, my first grade class had about 25 students, which probably was normal then. 5 of those 25 were named David. I am privileged to share a faith community with Dr. Martin and with school board member Susan Miller. One of our major outreach efforts is with North Hills Elementary School, and we expect to be sending a large number of people from our congregation to that school very soon to help with their EOG testing and their field day and their book fair. What I want to point out is that we should have high expectations of our students. And I think those expectations come from teachers, coaches, parents, and finally from the students themselves. And we should celebrate their achievements. But as parents and citizens, we have a part in those expectations to provide resources for whatever is needed for those students to succeed. Teachers, teaching assistants, you heard the comment about nurses and counselors, library access, clean and safe environments. And that list goes on. So our responsibility is to provide sufficient teachers and teaching assistants so that their class size is not overwhelming and does not interfere with learning, and to provide excellent library resources, of course. And here's the money statement. It's our responsibility to pay them well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Roddy Roberts. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Good afternoon. My name is Roddy Roberts, and I live at 124 Ensley Avenue, just off of Polo Road. Thank you, members of the County Commission, for offering this opportunity for community feedback and discussion. I am a homeowner here in Winston-Salem, not far from Wake Forest University. As our county leadership considers a funding increase to the county school budget, I want you to know that as a retired person on a fixed income, I favor the proposed increase. While I do not have minor children of my own, I am active at St. Anne's Episcopal Church, and many of the children who attend there attend Forsyth County schools. And I love and support those children as my own. In addition, during the summer, I teach elementary guitar and music appreciation at the Freedom School at Old Town Elementary on Reynolda Road. I love those kids. They're wonderful, and they deserve every opportunity. Our children deserve an excellent education at every stage of their childhood and youth. Obtaining and retaining excellent faculty and staff is essential to that end, and we want to be competitive with other districts. But beyond that, our kids deserve the best we can afford. As a veteran, I believe that a strong nation depends on a well-educated citizenry capable of understanding the complex issues that we face today. An excellent educational environment encourages us all to be more involved in the public square in a positive and a constructive way. I want our children to grow up to serve in positions of civic servant leadership, like the members of this commission, who have shouldered the responsibilities of administering good government. The future of good government depends on a well-funded school system. It's worth the investment. Lack of education breeds poverty. As a cost-conscious citizen, I don't want to fall into the trap of short-term savings that will cost way more in the long run. A well-educated citizenry is less likely to turn to crime, less likely to fall into drug dependency, less likely to need welfare, less likely to go to prison, more likely to offer a secure, nourishing environment to their own children, more likely to become well-employed, tax-paying members of society. Please consider full approval of Superintendent McManus's budget request, and let's give the kids what they need and deserve and be part of building a better future for Forsyth County, North Carolina, and the United States of America. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Matthew Mayers. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Matthew Mayers. I live at 2844 Wesleyan Lane in Winston-Salem. Thank you for this opportunity to speak this afternoon. And also thank you for voting just now for the hiring and retention bonuses for the paramedics. One of the things I love about local politics is that people just want to get things done and don't have to fight about it all the time. The main reason I'm here today is to reiterate an invitation that I think you should have received electronically from me already through the county's web contact us page. I know a couple of you at least did because I got some responses. But just to let you know, next week, the director of the North Carolina Clean Energy Fund will be in Winston-Salem. Her name is Jen Weiss. She's going to be addressing the Environmental Action Coalition, which is a group that is sponsored by the Piedmont Environmental Alliance. That's next Tuesday at noon at Parkway United Church of Christ, which is where that meeting is always held every second Tuesday. In case you don't know much about the North Carolina Clean Energy Fund, they are what some people would refer to as a green bank. It's not a bank in the sense that you can deposit your money there, but they do finance for development work, and it has a bent to it that aims at sustainability and lifting up people in lower and moderate income categories. They have been awarded many, many millions of dollars through the Inflation Reduction Act that they will be administering here in our state. They're based in Raleigh, but they're to serve the entire state. It would be terrific if Forsyth County didn't lose all of that money out to, say, Mecklenburg and Orange and Catawba, et cetera. You know what I mean. So I just wanted to extend that invitation again more personally, and not just to commissioners, also to county management, any staff that whose job that would touch, always welcome to those things. And there is also a Zoom option if you can't make it. I think Commissioner McDaniel probably knows right at this moment that Zoom, when everyone else is in the room, is not as great. But if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. I'll be here until the end of this meeting. I can't stay for the briefing, but if anyone needs to catch me for the Zoom details in between, I'll be here. And then I guess I'll stop there. I hope you all will consider it, and welcome to the meeting if you can make it. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
The last speaker card is Justin Green. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is Justin Green. I live at 1509 West Northwest Boulevard, and I'm fortunate in that every morning I can hear the morning announcements from Wiley Middle School. Today I'm here in support of the $20 million request from Dr. McManus. I'm a proud parent of 2 children here in the Winston-Salem Forsyth County system. I'm the head coach of the Wake Forest of 18 that has spent countless number of hours working with after-school programming in 13 schools in order to allow students to have after-school enrichment at no cost. I've got 2 degrees in education, and when I'm not coaching or parenting, I'm a professor who teaches oral advocacy and research, and it's that idea of research that is why I'm here today. So I'd like to break down the 5 components in McManus's request and start with an acknowledgement that this is not a problem that was created by this commission, but this is not a problem where we can simply pass the buck. And when it comes to funding our children's education, I think this is actually a place where we should spend a bunch of bucks. So first, let's look at the question of classified staff pay increases. The WFMY News noted in last year of November that they're currently Winston-Salem Forsyth County system is currently being outcompeted by fast food chains because the pay is not sufficient. Employee retention, Elizabeth Herbeck noted in Education Week on January the 22nd that there's a snowball effect when we pay teachers less. They end up having to work a second job, which, by the way, in North Carolina is about 20% of teachers. They're then more likely to quit and more likely to go into teaching in what's called survival mode as opposed to thriving mode, which means they're there, they're present, but they're not doing a great job. There's the question of master's pay. And some folks have raised the issue that master's pay does not increase test scores. And although I'm in favor of this proposal, they're actually correct. It doesn't increase test scores, but it does have three pretty important effects, as noted by Annalisa Sorrells in 2019. First, a large number of those teachers that receive master's pay end up getting that master's degree in education. They become our next vice principals, our next principals. They are the ones who are running the schools in the future. Second, they found that in those instances where teachers have master's pay, they decrease behavioral problems, especially in absences, especially in middle schools. I don't think I need to provide the statistics on how important that is having a child in one right now, and you can acknowledge anything we can do to make that environment better is important. And finally, there is the urban-rural divide. There are districts, especially in urban areas, who are starting to provide those master's pay, and as we heard earlier, teachers are starting to leave. There's the question of social workers. There are folks who are truancy officers and bullying prevention. The number of fights we've had in our district means we certainly need more of those. School nurses, the CDC reported in 2023 that for every dollar spent on school nurses, our society saves $2.20 in extra costs. Pre-K. In classrooms, they're looking for 11 classrooms. The 25-year study done in Boston found that there was a graduation rate for those students from high school and going to college at 6 to 10% higher. If we don't fund pre-K, then the only people who can go to pre-K are those with the money to do so. Finally, operations and safety. I don't think I need a statistic to tell you that our school bus drivers should not be using their cell phones in order to communicate because their radios don't work. Finally, I'd just like to note that it's important to fund our children's education because they are our future. Thank you.
Thank you. All righty. All right, Mr. County Manager, we're ready to continue with the remainder of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, board members and staff and guests. We do have some business items for consideration this afternoon. We have reviewed these in the briefing sessions, and hopefully have answered all your questions, so I'll dive in. We have one budget and finance matter. Item 5 is an amendment to the 22 PAYGO Capital Projects Ordinance that transfers funds from the inflation contingency for the Public Safety Center renovation project. You've got an associated budget ordinance amendment to go with that, and this essentially matches up the board's action on the contract with the financials, so you've already approved it as a part of the contract. So.
We have a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Plyler. For a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner McDaniel. Thank you. All in favor, please raise your hand. All righty. Motion carries unanimously.
Very good. We have a number of contractual matters. Item 6 is a resolution accepting the guaranteed maximum price proposal and authorizing execution of the design, build agreement or amendment for the Tanglewood Maintenance Building Solar Project. This would fund the $163,568. It is interesting that the electricity generated from the solar panels will offset 75 to 80% of the building's annual usage. So.
Motion by Commissioner Plyler.
Second.
Excuse me. Motion by Commissioner Bessie. I apologize. Second by Commissioner Plyler. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously.
All right. Items 7 and 8, I believe, can be taken together. They're both resolutions authorizing the purchase of vaccines from Sanofi Pasteur Incorporated, one using the state of North Carolina contract pricing and another using the MMCAP Infused Group Purchasing Organization. The item 7 is not to exceed $147,810.26, and item 8 is not to exceed $160,000.
Move approval.
Motion approved by Commissioner Plyler. Second by Commissioner Bessie. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously.
Agenda item 9 is a resolution authorizing execution of an agreement between Forsyth County and S.G. Atkins Community Development Corporation to provide services and administer grant funding to support the Microenterprise Individual Development Account Program in Forsyth County. This is over a 3-year period, so this would appropriate not to exceed $240,000 for that purpose.
Move approval.
Motion approved by Commissioner Plyler.
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner McDaniel. Gotcha. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand.
All right. Agenda item 10, you heard a little bit about from Dr. Spriggs. It is a resolution authorizing execution of an agreement between Forsyth County and Forsyth Technical Community College to support and maintain an apprenticeship program for the 24-25 academic year. You've got an associated amendment to appropriate those funds in an amount not to exceed $360,000.
Move approval.
Motion approved by Commissioner Plyler.
Second.
Second by Commissioner McDaniel.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Raise your hand, too, sorry. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Agenda item 11 is a resolution authorizing an amendment to the contract with FMRT Group LLC for pre- and post-hire psychological and medical services, supporting the Sheriff's Department's hiring efforts. This essentially is a $150,000 agreement that I believe extends it to $158,510.
Move approval.
Motion approved by Commissioner Platter.
Second.
Second by Commissioner McDaniel. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously.
All right. Agenda item 12 and 13, I believe, can be taken together. They are resolutions approving an execution of a contract amendment between Forsyth County and Mark D. Bardell, PC, North Carolina Professional Corporation, trading as Zacchaeus Legal Services. And item 13, one is for what we call in-rem foreclosure services. The other is for mortgage-style foreclosure services. It essentially moves $85,000 from one of the contracts to the other just because of contract usage.
Move approval.
Motion approved by Commissioner Platter, second by Commissioner Linville. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Just one for folks who are not used to the commission's progression of consideration. These are not rubber stamps. These are items that have all been discussed out previously, and most of the questions have been resolved, which is why there's not a lot of time taken at this meeting at each one.
Thank you, Commissioner Bessie. All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously.
All right, very good. Agenda item 14 is a resolution authorizing purchase of a 2024 Ram 550 chassis from North Point Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. You got an associated budget ordinance amendment for that.
Move approval.
Motion approved by Commissioner Platter. Second by Commissioner Linville. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously.
All right. Agenda item 15 is a resolution awarding and authorizing a contract for the purchase of 3 Type 3 ambulances to NWEV LLC, doing business as Northwestern Emergency Vehicles. This would authorize the purchase of 3 vehicles in an amount not to exceed $820,725.
Move approval.
Motion approved by Commissioner Platter, second by Commissioner Bessie. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously.
Chairman, I was just reading through some of that stuff about the truck chassis, and I noticed there was a requirement to have an inspection. When you think a new truck would pass inspection?
I would.
Well, I mean, without having to pay the $1,350 again.
Absolutely.
That's all.
All right. Agenda item 16 is a resolution awarding a contract for the purchase of 4 Ford Interceptor police pursuit vehicles in an amount not to exceed $169,400 in total.
Move approval.
Approved by Commissioner Platter.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Linville. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously.
And last item that's a contract matter is item 17, which is a resolution awarding and authorizing execution of 2 contracts for janitorial services at designated Forsyth County facilities. We basically rebid it kind of mid-contract period to try to get better service. This action will authorize a contract with A+, One LLC in an amount not to exceed $551,329.76, and Cleaning Matters LLC in an amount not to exceed $215,949.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion approved by Commissioner Platter, second by Commissioner Bessie. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, since the question of janitorial services and contracting or in-house is also coming up in the context of our education budget, can you explain why we're breaking this up into 2 parts and what we anticipate will result in an approval, an improved service by doing that?
I'll get Kirby to come up. He has managed through this very, very well. So,
Commissioner, thank you for your question. And if I don't fully answer it, please ask it again. I just want to make sure. So we have an existing contract that cleans all of our facilities at night right now. We are receiving, services not acceptable. And we worked with that contractor over the course of several different years to improve that. And frankly, it just hasn't gotten to where it needs to be. And so I think our feeling is that the contract is too big for one provider to handle. And so they're running into staffing issues, they have supervision issues. So the idea is that if we pull out a subset of those facilities and then increase our provider base, have more contractors, that we won't have an unmanageable contract that's just too large. And so, we're also sending a message too that we're not going to accept service level that's below what we've contracted for. So we're trying to do a couple of different things, I think, with these contracts.
Thank you. And maybe you could also repeat, my memory is that the cost for services actually is a little less than what we were paying.
Yeah, yes, sir. So when we put it out for bid, we certainly said, here's what we're paying now. And we said we will take the lowest bid, we'll recommend the lowest bid that meets our minimum level of service, which was we defined as, this routine at this many hours a day. And we project to save $35,000 in fiscal '25 based on those responses. Yes, sir. Yeah, it's same level of service that we're expecting from nothing changed. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously.
All right. Agenda item 18 is one property matter. It's a resolution authorizing the execution of a lease agreement between Forsyth County and AeroX for the lease of county-owned property located at 1941 Union Cross Road, which is a radio tower. And the purpose of the antenna on that site will be to use it as a radar tower. So.
Move approval. Motion approved by Commissioner Plyler. I'll be happy to second that. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand, please. Motion carries unanimously.
And then you've just got two reports. You got the third quarter Human Resources Report for fiscal year 23-24 and the March 2024 Contribution-Based Benefit Cap Report.
Move approval of the reports.
Second.
Motion approved by Commissioner Plyler, second by Commissioner Linville to approve reports. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand.
That's it, Mr.
Carries
Chair.
unanimously. Any other items? I will mention that Commissioner Wisnut is actually attending a meeting of the North Carolina, the board of the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, unable to be here today. And we certainly hope that Commissioner McDaniel feels better. And good. Glad to see you anyway. And I think we're ready to adjourn?
Yeah, adjourn, and then I think we can have this should take just a very short period of time, and
go ahead. We will, let's see, we'll go ahead and start the brief.
We're good. Okay, very good.
Yeah, we're good.
You guys got it quick. All right, so really the only two items, we do not have any discussion.
Mr. Manager, can
Yeah,
we
we
have
need
a
to
motion and second to adjourn?
That'd probably be good.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second by Commissioners Bessie and Linville. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Raise your hand. Thank you.
All right. So we're in session in the briefing session. Okay, very good. So just I'll do a quick review of the items that we're working on for the May 30th meeting, and then we do have a closed session motion. And really, kind of real quickly, you'll notice that the agenda for the May 30th meeting is pretty small. One item that will happen is we will go ahead and present the manager's recommended budget for 2024-25 to you at the May 30th meeting. So that will be either part of that, or we'll do that kind of as after the regular meeting. The items that we're working on currently for that, we've got a resolution recognizing May 2024 as Affordable Housing Month. So there'll be a presentation related to that. We do have one budget finance item related to ratifying and authorizing a joint applications by Forsyth County and the Winston-Salem Forsyth County Board of Education to receive some of the education lottery money. And so that's one of those routine matters that needs to be taken care of. In terms of contracts, it looks like we've got 6 contract items on there. You got execution of contract for elections system and software, obviously heading into the election in November. You've got a resolution selecting and authorizing the execution of a contract with Art Studio 7 to provide professional design services for the Piedmont Propulsion Structural Infill Project. That's that building that is not fully utilized by Piedmont Propulsion. There's an area that we can actually fill in, a floor area that was kind of a recessed floor that is not really utilized now, and so it'll be better utilized and actually will increase some revenue for the airport. Item 6, 6, you've got a resolution accepting the guaranteed maximum price proposal and authorizing the execution of the design-build agreement for the building phase of the Forsyth County Agricultural Park Complex. So kind of a big item around kicking that project off and moving forward with it. You've got a resolution awarding contracts for non-emergency medical transportation services. That's really a Department of Social Services contract. You've got a resolution awarding and authorizing execution of a contract for the construction and mounting of a 12-foot walk-around light rescue body to Custom Truck and Body Works. I believe that's for fire services for the suppression side. And then item 9, you've got a resolution approving an amendment to the agreement with the Humane Society of Piedmont Incorporated for spay-neuter surgeries at the animal shelter. So all of those items we're working on from a contractual perspective. A couple of property matters. One, we'll dive into a lot of detail around an option that we have that was part of the agreement a long time ago when the Church Street parking deck was constructed to support economic development. There was a provision in there that allowed us to ask the city of Winston-Salem to actually purchase us out of that agreement. And so we'll go into some detail with that. And then item 11, you got a resolution declaring certain county-owned personal property surplus. It's really part of our regular property management. And you'll hear from Kirby about what he's been working on with that. So like I say, a fairly light agenda for that meeting, kind of in anticipation of really diving into the budget discussions and deliberations around the FY24-25 budget. And with that, Mr. Chairman, the only other item I have is just the closed session motion when you're ready.
Go ahead.
Sure, okay. All right. Need to ask the board to consider a motion to go into closed session to discuss 3 matters. 2 matters to consult with an attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, which privilege is hereby acknowledged pursuant to provision of North Carolina General Statute 143-311A3. And 1 matter related to the location or expansion of industries or other businesses in areas served by the public body, including an agreement on a tentative list of economic development incentives that may be offered by the public body in negotiations pursuant to provision of General Statute 143-311A4. Since there's no other business to come before the board at this meeting, following the closed session, the meeting will be adjourned.
So moved. Moved by Commissioner Plyler. I'll second that. Any discussion? In favor, please raise your hand. We stand adjourned.